Okay, now we are looking at a volume of a sphere, which has a different formula. This time the formula is V equals 4/3 pi r cubed, and we're given a diameter of 9 inches. Since the diameter is equal to 9 inches, to find the radius, we take that 9 and divide it by 2. I'm going to leave it as 9/2. That's fine. So we get 4/3, give me one sec, pi times 9/2 cubed. And if we do that, we're going to have 4/3 pi, and on top here we'll have 81, on the bottom here we'll have 8. Because remember that, oops, I'm sorry, not 81. I am wrong. 9 to the third is actually 729. Sorry about that. So 9 cubed over 8, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, and 9 times 9 times 9 is 729. I'm going to simplify a little bit here. 729 divided by 3 gives us 243 here. And here we have a 4 and an 8 gives us a 2 there. So we end up with 243 over 2 times pi. So I'm going to divide this by 2 on my calculator. I get 121.5 times pi. And our answer is 381.70. And this time it is cubic inches. Let me try that again. That looks kind of messy. Cubic inches. Okay? So again, divide by 2. They used 4.5. I used 9/2. Plug everything in. We get 121.5 pi, which was what I said we got. And calculating that out, we get 381.70. Okay? Now we're going to do the volume of the composite solid. If you notice, this is kind of hard to see, but what we have is we have a cylinder, and then there's a hole cut out, which is half of a sphere. So we're going to find two volumes. We're going to find the volume of the cylinder. So, oops, sorry. Volume of cylinder. And then for this part right here, we're going to find 1/2 the volume of a sphere. Okay? And then subtract those two. So first let's do volume of a cylinder. Remember, this is pi r squared times the height. In this case, our radius is 2, and our height is 2 inches, and our height is also 2 inches. So in this case, we would have pi times 2 squared times 2. That's 2 squared is 4 times 2 is 8. So we get 8 pi here. And we're going to leave that as 8 pi because we want to wait until the very end. So now we're going to do half of the volume of the sphere. So it's going to be half of what we would normally do, which is 4/3 pi r cubed. So I'm going to simplify a little bit here and just make this a 2 and this a 1. So now really we have 2/3 pi r cubed, and we know the radius is 2. So that gives us 2/3 pi times 2 cubed. That gives us 8 times 2. We get 16/3 pi. So right now, if we look at this, we have the cylinder minus half of the sphere. This gives us 8 pi, and the other is 16/3 pi. Now remember, if I multiply top and bottom here by 3, remember this is over 1, that would give us 24 over 3 pi. I'm going to subtract out 16 over 3 pi. That would give us 8/3 pi as our answer. And then this is where we get our calculator out. So we do 8 divided by 3 equals, and then we multiply that times pi. We should get approximately, should be pretty close to 8 because we're dividing by 3 and multiplying by something close to 3. In this case, it's 8.38 cubic inches. So let's take a look at what they did. So volume of solid is cylinder minus hemisphere. So this should be squared, sorry, but pi r squared height, and then 1/2 times pi r cubed, 4/3 pi r cubed. So we have 2 squared and 2, which I did before, and then this is 2/3 pi times 2 cubed. Multiplying it out, we get 8 pi, and this would be 16 pi over 3. I did what they did, so that we would end up with 8 pi over, or 8/3 pi. Calculating that out, that ends up being about 8.38, which is, I believe, what I gave you. Yes. Alright. Here's another one. Again, radius this time is 5 yards. We want to find the volume of the sphere. Our formula is 4/3 pi r cubed. So we have 4/3 pi times 5 cubed. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So we would have 4/3 pi times 125. If we multiply that out, that would give us 500 over 3 times pi. And we get our calculator at this point. Make sure you do that step. You want to get it all the way until the end, and then get your final answer. Your final answer here should be 523.60 if we round correctly. And this would be cubic yards for units. So 523 point, they used 3.14, so that's why this is off a little bit. We have a hemisphere with a radius of 1 on top of a cone. So basically, if I was to draw this, it would look like this with an ice cream cone on top. So in this case, we know the radius here is 1 meter. So it's good to draw a picture of this. And then we know that the height of the cone would be right here. That would be 5 meters. And we want to find the volume of the solid. So again, what we're doing this time is volume of the cone. And this time we need to add half of the volume of the cylinder. So if we do this, let's do volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared times the height. This is again the cone. So we get 1/3 pi times 1 squared times the height, which is 5. 1 squared is 1 times 5 is 5. So we'd end up with 5/3 pi. I'm going to leave it like that. Now we're going to do 1/2 of the volume. Oops, this shouldn't be cylinder. This should be sphere. Sorry. I apologize. So it's 1/2 the volume of the sphere. From the last problem, remember 1/2 times 4/3 gave us 2/3 pi r cubed. I have to scooch this down a little bit. So we get 2/3 pi times 1 cubed. 1 cubed is 1. So my answer here is 2/3 pi. So volume of the cone is 5/3 pi. This other part would end up being 2/3 pi. Total gives us 7/3 pi. We're going to get our calculator. 7 divided by 3 gives us 2 1/3. We're going to multiply that times pi. Answer should, whoops, this is exact. The approximate answer is 7.33 cubic meters. There you go. And you're done. Thanks.